Welcome back to K-Drama Cycle, the channel where we dive deep into the stories, emotions, and unforgettable journeys of Asia's most beloved stars. Today, we explore one of the most inspiring, emotional, and groundbreaking stories in modern Thai entertainment. This is the story of Freen Sarocha and Becky Armstrong, two women who didn't just play roles in a girls' love drama, but who changed an entire industry and inspired millions worldwide. This is Breaking Barriers, the rise of Freen Sarocha and Becky Armstrong, and the new era of girls' love in Thailand. When Gap, the series first premiered, it seemed like just another romantic drama. But little did anyone know that it would mark a cultural shift. At its heart were two leading ladies whose chemistry felt so genuine that it blurred the lines between fiction and reality. Freen Sarocha, known for her quiet strength and captivating presence, and Becky Armstrong, whose charm, warmth, and authenticity drew people in instantly. Together, they became the heartbeat of a movement. Before Gap, girls' love dramas were often kept in the shadows. In Thai entertainment, boys' love dramas had already gained global fame, but stories about two women in love were rare. They were seen as risky, sometimes misunderstood, and often underfunded. Producers hesitated, networks avoided the topic, and mainstream audiences weren't sure how to receive it. But all of that changed when Gap aired. From the very first episode, something was different. Freen and Becky didn't just act, they connected. Their eyes told stories, their interactions felt real, and their chemistry radiated through the screen. Fans weren't just watching characters, they were witnessing something deeply human, something honest. Every smile, every touch, every glance between them carried an unspoken truth, that love is love, no matter who it's between. Soon, social media exploded. The hashtag FreenBecky began trending across platforms, with fans from around the world posting clips, edits, and emotional reactions. TikTok was filled with heartfelt moments from the show, and on Twitter, fans celebrated every new behind-the-scenes clip. Suddenly, Freen and Becky weren't just characters in a drama. They became symbols of representation, hope, and love for millions who finally saw themselves reflected on screen. What truly made Freen and Becky stand out was their authenticity. Off-screen, their natural friendship shone through. They laughed together, teased each other, and supported one another in a way that felt pure and effortless. Fans could see it, that this wasn't a staged act for promotion. It was a real bond that had grown through trust and mutual respect. In a world that often questions sincerity, their friendship became a reminder of what genuine connection looks like. As Gap gained popularity, something even more powerful began to unfold. Girls' love stories, once seen as niche, were now being discussed everywhere, from online communities to mainstream talk shows. Producers started paying attention. Other networks began exploring GL projects, realizing that audiences were ready, not just for the romance, but for stories that represented different shades of humanity. But fame comes with challenges. With massive popularity came intense scrutiny. Some people questioned whether Freen and Becky's bond was real or just marketing. Others speculated about their personal lives, blurring the line between character and individual. Yet through it all, both women handled the spotlight with incredible grace. They never disrespected their fans, and they never fueled unnecessary gossip. Instead, they focused on what mattered, their craft, their message, and their community. Becky once said in an interview, "It's not about being perfect. It's about being seen, being respected, and showing that love can exist in many forms." That statement became a reflection of who they were, two artists who believed in truth, in representation, and in kindness. And that honesty, that refusal to conform to stereotypes, became their greatest strength. Their fame spread far beyond Thailand. Freen and Becky began touring across Asia, meeting fans in the Philippines, South Korea, Japan, and even the United States. Their meet and greets were emotional. Fans would cry, thank them, and tell them how Gap changed their lives. For many, it was the first time they felt seen, understood, and validated. Freen and Becky often responded with kindness, reminding fans to love themselves and be proud of who they are. They became the faces of not just a drama, but a movement. Magazine covers, interviews, and brand deals followed. Yet, despite all the glamour, both women remained humble. Freen often said that her goal was to make her family proud and to use her platform to spread positivity. Becky, ever expressive, emphasized how important it was to stay true to oneself, no matter how big the stage gets. Behind the spotlight, they worked hard, long hours, countless interviews, rehearsals, and endless filming days. The pressure was real. The expectations were high, but they never lost sight of their message. They knew that their success wasn't just about fame, it was about representation. It was about giving voice to those who had long been invisible in mainstream storytelling. As their fame grew, Thailand's entertainment industry began to shift. Suddenly, more production houses were investing in girls' love stories. More scripts were written for women who loved women, not as side plots, not as stereotypes, but as main stories with depth and humanity. And this cultural transformation was, in many ways, sparked by Freen and Becky's bravery to take that first step. The two actresses didn't set out to become activists or revolutionaries, they simply wanted to tell a good story. But their sincerity, their openness, and their undeniable chemistry ignited something powerful. They broke barriers, they challenged norms, and they showed the world that love, when told truthfully, can connect hearts beyond language, culture, and gender. Their journey hasn't been easy. With fame came misunderstandings and even backlash. But both women stayed strong. They never let negativity define them. They responded not with anger, but with kindness. That's part of why fans admire them so deeply, because they lead with grace, not ego. Even today, their bond continues to inspire people around the world. Whether they're attending an event, working on a new project, or simply sharing a candid laugh, Freen and Becky radiate authenticity. They remind their fans that you can be soft yet strong, humble yet confident, kind yet powerful. Their legacy is more than their roles in Gap. It's about the doors they opened and the hearts they touched. Because of them, more young actors can dream of telling stories without fear of judgment. More fans can embrace their identity without shame. And more people can see that love stories come in endless forms, all valid, all beautiful. They prove that representation isn't just about visibility. It's about dignity. It's about showing that love doesn't have to fit a mold to be meaningful. And through their work, Freen and Becky redefined what love looks like on screen. Their story continues to evolve. They've grown as artists, exploring new roles and projects, but the foundation they built remains strong. The world continues to watch them, not just for their performances, but for who they are as individuals. Their humility, their respect for their fans, and their dedication to their craft have made them role models far beyond the screen. In every country they visit, fans share stories of how Freen and Becky inspired them to come out, to chase their dreams, to believe in love again. That's the true measure of their impact, not just ratings or views, but the lives they've touched along the way. Freen and Becky's rise isn't just about fame, it's about courage. The courage to take on a project that challenged norms. The courage to face criticism with grace. The courage to stay true to themselves even when the world was watching. Their message is clear, love is universal, and stories about it should be told fearlessly. They've shown that authenticity can move mountains, and in doing so, they've paved the way for the next generation of storytellers, dreamers, and believers. As they continue their journey, one thing remains certain. Freen Sarocha and Becky Armstrong have already made history. They are not just actresses, they are trailblazers. They are the heartbeat of a new era in Thai entertainment. And their story will continue to inspire, long after the lights fade and the cameras stop rolling. This is K-Drama Cycle, and today, we celebrate two women who turned fiction into revolution, friendship into empowerment, and representation into reality. Freen and Becky remind us that sometimes breaking barriers isn't about shouting louder, it's about staying true, loving deeply, and letting your light speak for itself. Because when love is real, it doesn't just change a show, it changes the world. Their journey didn't stop after Gap, the series ended. In many ways, that was only the beginning. After the show's phenomenal success, Freen Sarocha and Becky Armstrong found themselves at the center of a global fan movement unlike anything Thailand had ever seen. Everywhere they went, crowds followed. Fans carried banners, handmade gifts, and letters expressing gratitude for what these two women had brought into their lives. For many, Gap wasn't just entertainment. It was a mirror reflecting emotions they had kept hidden for years. It gave them courage, and Freen and Becky became symbols of that courage. Freen and Becky's dynamic off-screen became as fascinating as their characters on screen. Interviews and fan events showed how well they complemented each other. Freen, the calm and composed one, often spoke with quiet thoughtfulness, while Becky's bubbly energy filled every room with warmth. Together, they created a balance that felt effortless. During fan meets, they would often glance at each other, laugh in sync, or finish each other's sentences, moments that felt spontaneous, genuine, and full of affection. Those small gestures fueled the fandom's love even more. Fans began to call them not just co-stars but soul partners, not because of romantic speculation, but because their connection felt deeper than simple friendship. As time went on, the two continued to show their growth as individuals. Freen started taking on more diverse roles that challenged her acting range, showing she was much more than just a girls' love icon. She was an actress capable of depth, complexity, and nuance. Becky, on her part, started branching into music and international endorsements, proving that her charisma could shine across multiple creative fields. What's remarkable is that even as their careers evolved in different directions, their bond remained intact. No matter how busy their schedules got, whenever they reunited for an event, the same chemistry was there, unshaken and natural. Behind the cameras, the entertainment industry in Thailand was also changing. Because of Freen and Becky's massive success, production companies saw that girls' love content wasn't just possible, it was profitable, respected, and globally relevant. New shows started emerging, featuring fresh talents, better scripts, and larger budgets. And many of those new actresses openly credited Freen and Becky as their inspiration. This cultural shift went beyond just the screen. Thai media began including more inclusive topics in talk shows and news programs. Schools and organizations started discussing diversity with more openness. Freen and Becky's story, though born in fiction, had sparked real conversations about acceptance and equality. But with fame and influence came heavier responsibilities. The pressure to remain perfect, to always smile, to live up to fan expectations, it can be overwhelming. Both Freen and Becky admitted in interviews that the attention could sometimes be difficult to handle. They received love, but also criticism and scrutiny from people who misunderstood their closeness or tried to impose narratives on them. Yet through every challenge, they stayed grounded. Freen once said, "People will always talk, but what matters most is who you are when the noise fades." Becky added, "We can't control what others think, but we can control how we treat people, with kindness." Those words resonated deeply with fans who admired how the two navigated fame without losing their humanity. What truly sets Freen and Becky apart is their humility. Despite global recognition, they still speak with the same sincerity they had before Gap's success. When asked about their fans, they never refer to them as followers, they call them family. They've said multiple times that without their supporters, none of this would be possible. During international events, fans would often tell emotional stories about how Gap and the Freen-Becky pairing helped them come out to their families or find confidence in who they are. Many broke down in tears, and Freen and Becky would listen, hold their hands, and thank them for sharing something so personal. Those small, quiet moments of empathy became just as legendary as their performances. In 2024 and 2025, Freen and Becky continued to grow into mature, confident artists. They began participating in brand collaborations, social campaigns, and charity work focusing on mental health and inclusivity. They used their platform not just to entertain, but to make a difference. Becky worked on youth mentorship initiatives, encouraging young girls to dream big, while Freen lent her voice to organizations that support women's empowerment and equality in media. As the years passed, their bond became a symbol of loyalty and respect. They didn't need to constantly post together or make headlines to prove their connection. It was something that existed beyond the public eye. In an industry that often thrives on competition, Freen and Becky showed what true partnership looks like: mutual respect, unspoken understanding, and unwavering support. Their story also changed how the world viewed Thai entertainment. International audiences began paying more attention to Thailand's creative industry, recognizing it as a hub for powerful storytelling. Gap became a gateway for viewers to discover other Thai series, helping the entire industry grow in visibility and prestige. The Freen Becky fandom, now a global family, organizes charity events, social campaigns, and fan projects under their names. Instead of limiting their support to gifts or flowers, fans raise funds for LGBTQ rights organizations and children's hospitals, mirroring the compassion that Freen and Becky